And welcome to Meet the Polymaker, first episode ever where the show is live, obviously. And all my mistakes are definitely real, along with my host behind the scenes, pushing the buttons, sometimes at the wrong time, James Disturbed Medic. Welcome, everybody. This is a new show. This is a new thing for me, for James. It's going to be a show that is about you, the maker. We'll actually cover the latest news, happenings, print show offs, and meet people passionate in the field. This is just one of many amazing Polymaker projects this year. We've been teasing it for a while now, so we do appreciate everybody's patience. It's slowly coming together. As you'll see, I'm kind of staring off a little bit as I'm not fully prepared, but bear with me. You guys are supportive. I love everybody that's in here. Thank you, everybody, for coming, for supporting everything that Polymaker does and everything that the community's been involved with. Me and James, of course, have been working on a handful of things behind the scenes. This is the first one to come to fruition, at least live in front of somebody. So if you see me nervous, it's okay. I'll get through it. But again, welcome. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about some new upcoming hardware in the 3D printing arena, showcasing some prints in our show off channel and Polymaker Discord, and of course, talking to a special guest. So that guest is going to change every week. We are going to be live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And those guests are going to change. They're going to be you, the maker, whether some special project you're part of, something that you've created and made, or even eventually, who knows, CEOs, maybe really cool people like this guy, Nick from Polymaker. You guys may have heard of him. We'll maybe have him on one of these shows. We'll see. He's kind of elusive. So if we get a hold of him, we'll get him on here. So with that said, let's get right into our first segment, which is the news. So first thing we're going to talk about is something new that's come to the 3D printing world. Some of you may have heard of it, some may not. Something it's called scarf joint seams or scarf seams. It's not anything official on a slicer yet. You can get it in Orca slicer. What it actually is essentially helps hide the Z seam. Most everybody knows what a Z seam is. As those layers go around for each 3D print, it starts and stops at a specified point, moves up to the next layer. That little small gap is what you actually get that Z seam, and you see that little line up and down your prints. There's various ways that have always been to minimize it or to scatter it throughout the print, so it's not a focused line. But scarf joint seams is actually a woodworking technique that's being implemented into 3D printing, similar almost to a vase mode. Instead of going straight up at the end of each layer, it's actually going at a slope. That slope then slowly extrudes plastic to help hide that seam. It's been pretty successful in a handful of test prints. Again, it is available in an outside Orca slicer modification people have done. It should soon be coming to Orca slicer. This, of course, is going to help with a lot of different prints where you see that seam, and it just takes away the quality. When you print something, you want it to be as neat looking, as clean looking as you can. This is going to help with that. So on to the next headline. We're going to talk about a new hardware or a new printer into the arena of 3D printers. Of course, we are seeing a ton of 3D printers, whether it be from Creality, from Bamboo Lab, Prusa, of course, has got their mix. Elegoo, of course, everybody knows the brands. This brand is going to be Frozen. If most people know them more for their resin printers, so they're actually coming out with their very first FDM printer. It's going to go. We'll see if it goes head to head with Bamboo with their X1 and their AMS system. That is the biggest thing with this. This is going to be the first one since Bamboo Lab that's an official commercial product with a 4-spool AMS system. That's going to give you multicolor prints and multi-material prints. It's going to be similar. We haven't seen a whole lot on it yet. It is on a Kickstarter, but it's going to be similar to the X1. Like I said, with its AMS system. It's going to be a 600 millimeter per second speed. It's a 300 by 300 by 300 Core XY machine, so it does have that larger capacity. Gives it a little bit of a head start there on, of course, Bamboo. Everybody's waiting for that large printer. So hopefully, Bamboo, you're listening in. We're ready for it. So again, it does the multicolor. Has all your creature comforts that your top tier printers now do. Your auto leveling, it's got a 120-degree bed. obviously the multicolor printing, filament run out, among other things. It does run off the clipper system. So the customization we might be able to do, modifications and mods that you can do to it, might be aplenty. We'll see. Again, it's on the Kickstarter right now. We'll see. It's supposed to be ending in, I believe, April, beginning of April, shipping in July. So you'll probably start seeing more reviews, hopefully in the next coming months, from different influencers. So stay tuned for that. We'll see what kind of printer it is, see if it holds its title versus the Bamboo X1C. On to our last headline of the day. This is going to be a new device that's going to be releasing soon. There's not an exact date yet. That is going to be a TD1. For those that don't know what a TD1 is, it is a neat little, very compact device, as you'll see. It's got a little screen. It's going to be hard to see on here. It's not turned on right now. And what this is a filament scanner. And what it provides is a hex color code of the filament that you feed through it. So it does have a little feed port through. It's going to give that color code, and it's also going to give the TD, which is, of course, where it gets the TD1 name. And TD is going to be the translucency, or the transmission data, or distance, I'm sorry. And that's going to be how much light passes through a filament. The higher the TD, the higher transparency it has. This is good for many things. One of the main things it's tying into is HueForge. Everybody that's heard of the filament painting, taking images, getting them on different colors that are just a layer by layer, adding an amazing depth to photos that have been 3D printed. There's tons of uses for that, whether just decor. We've seen them put onto drones, kind of a light box type of thing. But that's also another thing too with the TD filament that is important on light boxes. We've got another application in our Discord, if you guys visit there, about light boxes and how much that light shines through. Obviously, you don't want it to be super transparent because you'll see those LEDs. So it's got a lot of cool use cases, a lot of just tech that's kind of built into it, and it's just a really neat device. Now, on that, I know everybody that has been waiting on their side, the edge of their seats of when is it coming out? How is it? How are we going to be able to get this? Where is it going to be available? We do have that information. Thanks to Ajax 3D, the creator of the TD1, we are giving kind of the first announcement of some of the official information for it. So again, release date, he's hoping soon. So I'm not going to put that out there yet. That'll be Ajax. That official announcement will be able to be seen on HueForge's Discord, on the Polymaker Discord, on ajax-3d.com, and on x.com/ajax_3d. That's on his official account there. Watch those places. You're going to see the dates. So what's going to happen is they are only going to be sold via a reseller. Ajax is not shipping them out of his house and having to go through all the hassle there, hoping he gets everybody taken care of, with as popular as this device has been. So those resellers, let's see here. There's going to be multiple. I'll give the details here, which first one's going to be West 3D. They are going to sell, there's two versions. So there is a unit that is what you see here, everything put together, ready to go, plug it in, and start scanning your filament. I apologize for looking up. My feed's up there. That's a full unit. That is going to be printed in a limited edition Polymaker ABS Starlight Neptune. Don't bother going to the website. It's not there. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there in a couple weeks. This is exclusive filament specifically designed and made for Ajax and his TD1. So mine is, of course, in a PLA fluorescent or neon orange. The official ones, like I said, will be that Starlight Neptune ABS. Beautiful filament, great choice for the device. But again, back to it. With West 3D, they're going to sell the unit and also another version where it's just the kit. This will require you to print the parts yourself. There is a lid, a base that you print out. You can do it in any color you want. You can do it multicolor. Whereas you'll see here, I don't know if I'll cut it out. It's got lettering on it. You can actually change that to however you want. So those units and kits are going to be both sold through West 3D. That is US only. It's also going to be sold through Polymaker. What you're going to want to do is watch the website, us.polymaker.com. This release through Polymaker is going to be US only. That is going to be where you purchase a upcoming HueForge filament pack. And with that purchase of that filament pack, you get a free TD1. Again, these are all going to, the initial launch is going to be released as the full units in that Starlight Neptune ABS. So that there's no further information, but just watch the website. Again, watch for Ajax's information. He's going to have that official announcement. Then you'll know kind of when to start watching that website. Other than that, we're not just US based. We still do have one more US company, Printed Solid. They're going to be selling the units and the kits. And then we're going to move over to Canada, where he has actually partnered with Hedamame. They're going to be selling the kits only. That is for Canada, for those that don't know. And then also Vector 3D is going to sell kits only. Again, you'll have to do your own 3D printed parts. But that way, again, it gets the UK in there too. So logistics are going to change the pricing a little bit, but the unit itself is going to be $80 US. Excuse me, US. The kits are going to be $40 US. Again, anything outside the US, that's going to change a little bit because of logistics, shipping. But that information will be presented on those websites. Again, West 3D, Polymaker, Vector 3D, Printed Solid, and Hedamame. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And possibly pick yourself up one of those limited edition, because they won't always come in that. That filament is a limited thing, again, made specifically for this project, which is an amazing thing for Polymaker, the support they've given Ajax, and of course Ajax for selecting an excellent color. I give them props there. So for that segment, that is the news for the day. We're going to go ahead and move on over to our Polymaker Prints segment. That is an unofficial pending title. A lot of this is work in progress if you haven't been able to tell yet. So first print we're going to look at here is going to be from Paleo John, a community member. Now, all these prints that we're sharing today are going to be ones that have been shared in our show off channel and the Polymaker Discord. If you want to be possibly featured on the show, you think you have an amazing, beautiful print, we are picking them randomly. We can't promise everything's going to be displayed on every show, but definitely post your makes in there. I mean, it's fun to share it with the community. And then we're just kind of putting it out there to let others see that aren't part of that Discord yet. Maybe entice them to come and check out your prints. So again, Paleo John, he does topical maps where he converts them into 3D prints. And his color changes that you'll see in this is actually just layer swaps. He doesn't use multi-material or or AMS, a multi-material system. Layer swaps, you can paint them if you wanted to go through Bamboo Studio and make it even more in depth. He does a lot of landmarks, major locations. So this he posts on Maker World. He has an account there. If you go to his account, you're going to see multiple map creations that he's done and shares them out there for free for you to print through Bamboo Studio or whatever slicer, but through Maker World. So sorry, I'm getting notifications. I'm trying to follow everything. So again, this is the next one is going to be a print from Nick Snacks 3D Prints. That is a tongue twister. We should have picked a different one for the first show. He printed the Crystal Mushroom Dice Tower by Cinderwing. This, of course, is in a beautiful rainbow filament. There are so many rainbow filaments out there that are just, look beautiful. This, of course, looks great. Everybody knows Cinderwing creates the Cinderwing dragons. She does branch out and do other things, again, like this dice tower. So just another beautiful print. This can be found on Cults 3D, or if you're, of course, subscribed to Cinderwing's Patreon. Next print is going to be by Tech Jeeper, another community member. All these are community members. Again, it's posted in our Discord. So we do thank everybody that shares their prints in there. And of course, like I said, it gives inspiration to others to do certain prints, or they see something that you did and think, that's amazing. I'm going to do it myself. So it does inspire people, rather than just a share and somebody looks at it and goes away. So again, appreciate it. But this is a screw unit by K2 Kevin. Everybody knows K2 Kevin for his K2 clips and multiple other things. He's been doing a lot of desk organization, some Gridfinity stuff. So this is just another one of those useful prints. Of course, it's a great solution for screw storage. Rather than having buckets of random screws and having to feed through them, you can print this out. You can print labels if you got a label maker, if you want to get really in depth. But just a neat print. Of course, I think he's used a lot of the Starlight's colors in this one. So not a bad choice. It's one of my favorite filaments. That is all we have for the prints. What we're going to do now is actually we're going to take a message. We'll be right back after these messages for our next segment, which is Meet the Polymaker. We'll be right back.
Are you into cosplay and prop making? Are you tired of having to break out those power tools to sand those lines away? And don't forget about all that hand sanding. Cramps. Ouch. Introducing Polymaker's Cos PLA, available in two different versions, version A and version B. Both versions are still easier to stand than standard PLA. Find out more at us.polymaker.com.
This is Polymax PLA, the toughest PLA in the world, and today we're gonna put that to the test. I printed this very mechanical model and we're gonna drop it from the 12th floor. You heard me well, the 12th floor. Let's go! Ready for the first drop in 3, 2, 1. Whoa, that's crazy! Not even a scratch! Let's go and check it closer. Not even a single scratch. I dropped it again from the 12th floor and still not a single scratch. Buy your Polymax PLA right now!
Performance may vary depending on usage, individual factors, and external condition. Individual result may vary, not a guarantee of specific outcome. Consult your professional before use. See website for details and limitations. Use responsibly.
Have you had bad customer service with your filament provider? Have you ever gotten a bad spool and never got a response when you emailed the company? Well, that won't ever happen when you reach out to Polymaker. Some people say that no company cares about you. Wrong. 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 If you never got a response after emailing a company that you've worked with in the past, you may be entitled to better customer service. We at Polymaker pride ourselves on good customer service, and we won't ever keep you waiting for a response. Email us now at support@polymaker.com and we'll get back to you within 1 business day. We'll fight for you.
And welcome back to Meet the Polymaker. I hope you enjoyed those that commercial break there. We paid a lot of money for that advertising. The production value, of course, is top notch. So again, let us know in the chat what your favorite commercial was. Those were created obviously by Nick, by Sean, by James. And we'll speak of that a little bit later at the show on the commercials and what our future is with those. So again, welcome back. So, no further delay, we're going to go ahead and bring in our special guest for Meet the Polymaker. Please welcome in Ajax 3D, who is not there, but he will be in just a moment. And there he is. Welcome in, Ajax.
How's it going?
Hey, not too bad. I appreciate you coming in. So behind the scenes, I had a little foo bar with the stream and the scheduling. So I welcome Ajax. He eventually was going to be a guest. He kind of expedited that. So definitely thank him in chat, everybody, for kind of last minute joining the show to be here to be drilled by me. So
thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Like I said, again, for very short notice. In this segment, obviously, guys, we're meeting the maker. We're here to talk to Ajax, not just about the TD1. Again, he is the creator of the TD1, but to get to know him. This is what we want to do: is just meet these people. Get to know them a little bit more and just more about their project. So we will talk about the TD1 a little bit later. Again, we'll just kind of get to know Ajax for those that don't know him. So I'm using some cards here, and if you didn't notice, we're official here. We have official talk show cards. So anyway, we'll kind of get into it. Main question: how and when did you get into 3D printing, and why?
Oh yeah, so my first attempt at getting into 3D printing was back in about 2017, if I'm remembering correctly. I've always been into like making and stuff, so I had a laser, like a CO2 laser already that I was using, that I had recently gotten, probably about the same year, maybe a year before. And I was doing some cutouts and stuff with that, and I was living pretty close to Las Vegas, and there was this auction house for online retail return stuff, and a 3D printer came up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll bid on that." I think I bid like $150, and I won it. It was a CR10. The box was labeled CR10S, but in the box was a CR10, and it was
little switcheroo made at the return.
it was beat up, and so I spent a lot of time fixing that and upgrading that printer, just to even get it to work. um, and yeah, that's kind of how first started getting into 3D printing. And like I said, like what drew me into it in the first place was just being a maker to begin with and
So you were already
enjoying that
creating
process.
things as it
Yeah.
was, and it just kind of built off of course, laser. You're taking away stuff, and with printing, you're additive manufacturing. So you're adding that filament. Now, was there anything since you were more in depth with the laser at first that you kind of integrated with the 3D printing, or where you joined the masses, or did you kind of segue away from the laser printing and then get into 3D printing?
Yeah, so I actually have never done anything that used both 3D printing and laser. Kind of funny. I still have the laser. I just where I live right now is really difficult to use it. So 3D printing is just easier to do with all the evacuation you have to use for air evacuation, exhaust evacuation. For the laser, it's just and it's large. I have a pretty large one, so it just takes up way too much space. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Got to have those
So
fillers and everything. It's, a little less
yeah.
or a little more toxic than 3D printing. Can be
You got to
depending,
be
but
careful about what you're cutting for sure because they can off gas some really nasty things that you
and
definitely
I've
don't want to
got
do.
I've got a miniature one in my basement in my workshop, and I've done just some small items, and I've noticed I did a mirror, and etched into a mirror, and
Mhm.
that was a very bad smell. I'm sure not safe to breathe in, and the smell lingered for about a full day. So yeah, it's I learned then is there's a reason there's a vent hose on the back to be vented out elsewhere. Not that I
Yeah.
didn't already know that, but that was kind of that cemented the thing of okay, we're going to use this in the garage or we're going to vent it out somewhere. So yeah, but now with 3D printing, do you remember by chance when you first were introduced to Polymaker or when you first used it?
I honestly hadn't used Polymaker really up until probably Rocky Mountain when I saw the like okay, so my first like real world event was Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival last year. Um and that was because it was the first time I ever heard of it and it's like 10 minutes from my house. And so it was like, wait, there's a what? Yeah, I'm definitely going to be there. And so I saw the death racers there and the drag racers. I think that was the first year they had the drag racers, obviously, because it was done for Rocky Mountain. So and then I heard that Polymaker was doing um, the sponsorships and stuff, and so that was like the first time I heard about Polymaker, um, like seriously as a filament supplier. And then
No, yeah.
I jumped on the Discord, found out about the two projects, the Death Racer, Drag Racer, built one of each, and had them ready for Earth when Earth came along. And so getting filament to do some of that stuff was like the first time I got into Polymaker. So about a year.
Awesome. Yeah, that's probably how a lot of people started. I know a lot of people have started with giveaways. Of course, Polymaker's been a very generous uh, company to the community. So yeah, it's nice to hear this the more and more people just how you gotten involved with it. Death Racers, of course, being just awesome to watch along with the drag racers. Now, is that something that you plan on participating in again this year for any of the rep rap festivals?
Maybe not Rocky Mountain. I won't have time. I got so much going
A
on. I
couple other
mean,
things going
I
on, I
have
believe.
I have a box of parts over here of my busted up Death Racer. I might be able to bring the Drag Racer because I think it still works, but the
Okay.
Death Racer's in pieces, and I don't have time to get that back
Yeah.
together. I was gonna try to get my son to build one too. My son's he'll turn 14 just before the show. So I was gonna try to get him to build
Awesome.
one of each as well. I have all the parts in a box, but um, I don't have the time to like coach him through what to do either.
Yeah,
So
help them along with
he's
it.
yeah. So if I bring my or my drag racer, I mean, he'll probably drive it. But I don't. Yeah. Otherwise, I don't think I'm gonna have time. I feel like I'm gonna be probably pretty busy the whole time. And then for the other shows, not 100% sure which shows I'll even go to this year. But definitely want to try to make it to as many as I can.
Awesome. Yeah. Definitely look forward to seeing you. I'll be at each event. So anyone that you make it to, we'll have to get together. I'm gonna have to get one of those spools of filament that you have sitting around the house. If those that don't know, obviously, like I said, he is the creator of the TD1, which we'll talk about here in just a moment. Um, as he's not reselling, he's going through resellers to make it easier for distribution and sale. This guy is doing production out of his home. So he's printing for all the units that are doing. How many units do you have? Are you able to provide that information of how many units full
Yeah,
units that you printed or that you're printing to sell?
full units. Well, printed parts, I'm printing 500.
Okay.
Now, of those 500, in this initial launch, only 300 are going to be completely built out and sold because there's going to be 200 kits and 300 units. Um, and those will be distributed to the different resellers. But I am going ahead and printing all 500 because part of my partnership with Polymaker is 500 complete units,
Okay.
and they provided the filament, obviously the special filament to be able to print all 500 of those units. So um, I'm printing all 500 of those right now. So I'm going to have 200 in stock ready for after launch and ready to go if I start depending on demand. If I
If the
if I
demand
jump
is there,
right in
yeah.
some more, yeah.
I will not be surprised to see them all sell out. Obviously, I source the parts. For those who know, you start out with a Patreon. You can source the parts
Yep.
out, build your own. And honestly, I built the thing just to build it to support Ajax, and I've used it many a times just on not even just light boxes and hue forges, of just certain things that I don't want affected by the light to see how much is actually going to pass through. So it's got, I mean, they're more creative people than myself. So there are many more use cases this thing will have. But now talking with the TD1, getting all this rounded up, being able to sell these and everything. How hard was it to kind of start your own company? I don't know if you did this under LLC or just as an individual, but
It's
how hard
it's
was that to
been
get things rolling?
it's been another process for sure. I did send up an LLC. It's been a process getting that set up and then doing the bookkeeping and tax license and
Can't forget taxes.
all the fun things that come along with a business. I'm still in the process of getting all that done. Business checking account and then like getting to be able to create invoices to get to resellers. So it's been a bit of a journey, but I'm finally there at this like now. I'm finally there. So that's why we're able to get the ball rolling and get money flowing to make this whole thing possible. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially, yeah, because I mean you have a full-time job, you have a family and kids, and you're able to do this, you know, well, create this thing, go through all the bug working, source out all the parts and create this thing. And do you have time to sleep? I know I see in the Hangouts all the time, but do you sleep much?
I do sometimes.
Sometimes it's
I can work
overrated.
it in the schedule. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's see here. Now, of course, I know what you have. I know what you've been using for the TD1 creations. Do you have a favorite printer? Is it obvious which one the favorite one is? I know, of course. I think did you build a Voron before?
I have, yeah.
Okay,
I got a Voron 2.4 300 millimeter.
okay. And right now, that's sitting, being replaced by the current workload.
Yeah, yeah. Even if I wanted
Yeah.
to use, so it really what it needs. If anybody's ever built a Voron, what like the actual building of the Voron is pretty straightforward for somebody who's good with their hands, mechanically savvy, if you will. Um, and it probably took me a good 40 hours, 60 hours maybe to assemble. I've probably put another 100 into that thing just trying to get it dialed in and calibrated
By tuning it.
and and not only well because I also you can't just take a small bite, right? You got to take the whole bite. So I also went straight into doing like a 9-channel ERCF with it as well. So there's so many things that come along with that. That's a whole nother can of worms. And then before I even got everything dialed in, it was like, well, I want to do tap, so I gotta upgrade it. And so before even getting it, it's a constant. It's that tinkerer's thing, right? It's like having an old
100%.
an old uh, an old fixer upper, where you're going to do the work to do it, but it's not 100% functional until you do that.
Yeah,
So
and it's one of those things you don't need to do, but like you said, you're going all in, and I suffer from the same thing of projects that I get involved with. It's like you can't just do the base, you got to do more, and you don't have to, but you convince yourself you do. Just well, for example, of course, Ajax knows because I hounded him for a little while and some help on when I did my TD1. Pretty straightforward build. I got that done working. I figured, oh, it'd be cool just to have a battery powered TD1. I went down that route, found out it wasn't as easy as I thought it was, so it got dropped. It's just one of those things. You add an extra step to the project you're doing that you don't need to. But in the end, it's one of those. I'm sure, especially with the TD1, you've probably seen it or felt is that sense of accomplishment. Getting it that first time that you put those pieces together yourself and got it to work, and it did what you thought it was going to do. That's I'm sure an amazing feeling.
yeah,
Um,
it's totally rewarding, right?
Now with the TD1, now with getting into that, do you have a background in coding or engineering, or is this something you just kind of picked up over the course of years? Or did you have any background schooling or expertise in it?
My schooling might have touched on like C++ or something. I can't remember. This was back in 2005, 2006 that I graduated. But my degree is an associate's in electronics. Um, so I'm definitely more of the electronic side, less of the software side. But doing a project like TD1, you're doing full stack. If you're a single man company like me, you're doing the whole thing. You're doing the CAD work. You're doing which again is not my forte, but I'm learning. It's another one of those things that's it's it's a
Like
tinkerer's
pick
thing, right?
up
Where
and
you pick it up,
yeah,
you play with it. Yeah. So you do the CADing, the electronics, you do the software, and then you get into the business side of stuff. You're doing the distribution, you're doing the sales, you're all the fun things. So
yeah. You start with that first step and then just build from there. And
wearing a lot of hats.
especially
Yeah.
when you get hooked into it. Oh yeah. Especially with TD1, like I said, you have the hardware part, you have the software part, and just the implementation of things. Which, speaking of implementation, of course, I know one of the things that kind of led up to the TD1 was your involvement with HughForge.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
Care to talk about how you got involved with HughForge and how that kind of grew into, of course, a relationship with Steve from HughForge?
Yeah. So my involvement was just I was one of the early people to jump in and adopt QForge and try it and kind of see what it was all about. And I jumped on the Discord. I was pretty active, was asking a lot of questions. I've helped moderate another Discord in the past, so I just offered my assistance. There was only, I think, three moderators at the time. We had Zombie Hedgehog, Disturb Medic, and Ian. Oh, I guess is Major Gamer Geek or Additive Adam now. I believe
Yeah,
he might have been one at the
bug
time as well.
finder.
But Ian wasn't doing a lot of it. Zombie Hedgehog wasn't. Disturb Medic was. They were involved, but they weren't really doing a lot of moderating. So I kind of jumped in and did more of like the moderator side, easy stuff like getting people roles and stuff. And so yeah, so it was basically me and Major Gamer Geek that Additive Adam that kind of did most of that work. Since then, we've added a couple more moderators. But yeah, it's just offering my time, since I'm there a lot anyways, like, hey, I can do this if you want. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's I've seen you. Well, of course, in the Huge Forge Discord, obviously in the Polymaker Discord. For those that don't know, we have application stages. I know Nick touched on it briefly on his stream last night. Just one of the many projects that we have going on, where we have people that are skilled in certain applications or certain areas. Ajax is one of our two Hue Forge ambassadors. Recently renamed from filament painting. It's Hue Forge. That's what filament painting is. It was kind of given that name, I think, as an easier to digest of what it actually is. So we do have those application stages once a week, at least. We have one of them, whether it be Ajax or Additive Atom, go on stage, talk about what HughForge is. We've got a lot of different applications, and we'll kind of touch base on those here at the end of the show. Um, Always looking for new people that are experts in certain fields. So Ajax is definitely an expert, as he said. He was there kind of from the start. Other than I think Steve and Ian, he's probably the third longest tenure. Would you say with using
yeah,
HughForge?
because Ian. So like, I'm sure you've heard some of the story and seen some of the interviews with Steve, but Ian was kind of the inspiration, I believe, behind the whole Hugh Forge thing, where Steve was doing one thing and Ian was doing another, and Steve thought he was doing what he was doing and realized he wasn't, and was like, "Oh, but I think I can help you." And so he was kind of like he was doing Hugh Forge before Hugh Forge was even a thing. So
Awesome. Yeah, another great group of guys. So I mean, that's easy friendship to build from there. I'm sure.
yeah, yeah.
But so now we're going to move on to rapid fire questions. So these
Okay.
are going to be questions that have no right or wrong answers. And we will provide you fake internet points for any question you answer. Those can be redeemed nowhere. So let's see what we can do here. So between materials, PLA or ABS, and why?
ABS, because and I lost everything I ever printed in the back of a moving truck once, and vowed to never use PLA again.
Fair enough. That question might have been geared for the fact that I've heard that story before. So I just wanted you to tell it in front of everybody.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
If you were not restricted by size, what would you print?
What would I print? Man, I've always wanted to do like some of the like an Iron Man suit, like a full suit, like cosplay suit. Those would be super cool. Being able to obviously print those in as large as parts as possible gives the um, best outcome. So I think as far as volume wise, I would love to do something like that one day.
Oh yeah, yeah. But I've had that kind of the same project that I started the first half, and I gained a little bit of weight, don't fit right, and I don't have the bottom printed yet. So like, I got to start exercising. I'll get back into that Iron Man suit eventually. Maybe I'll host one of these shows in it. So if you could have any printer in the world, industrial, commercial, consumer based, for free, what printer would that be, and why would you choose that printer over all the other ones?
That's a tough question. I don't know a lot of the printers that can do
Fair.
um, like metal printing, but I think metal printing is super interesting.
Okay. Yeah, that's yeah, I'm the same. So yeah, I'll still provide you the points for that answer because I don't know the brands either, but I know they're out there. I've seen videos on them.
Yeah, and
So
if you're going to give me
excellent
a
choice.
no money option, like yeah, I'm definitely going to pick something industrial grade, which I just haven't
That's harder to
done any
obtain on your
research in
own.
yet. But
So what you're saying is maybe we'll eventually have a TD one that's in like titanium. Okay,
um,
and
maybe
maybe eventually.
maybe
Okay, and
some
then
stainless steel parts internally or something. I don't know.
hey, yeah, you never know, and things will become more available. So we'll see. And last question for the rapid fire: what is your favorite print that you have ever done? You don't have to have it on you, but just what you know. Maybe one of those PLA prints that melted in the truck.
No, actually, the PLA parts that melted in the truck weren't anything special. It was just a lot of parts and stuff. But I think my favorite like thing that I've printed is I've done the um, multicolors Settlers of Catan set on Thingiverse,
There you go.
and I freaking love that set. It's awesome.
Awesome.
So,
It's a surprising. I give you props for not going to the easy answer of the TD1, obviously. So, so good job there. But now, speaking of the TD1, like I said, we kind of touched base on it. I did announce it during the news headlines. Um, Anything else that you want to talk about, or I don't know if you have one that you want to show in the color, or if that's kind of waiting for the pictures to come out, or up to you.
yeah,
Not pressuring you.
there'll be pictures, but I don't have a complete one yet. I was trying to get some built right now before this, but ran out of time.
Oh yeah,
But I do
I
have the
know about
parts here.
running out of time for sure.
I do have the parts here I can show off. So this is the Starlight Neptune ABS. It is definitely a little bit less of an effect than the PLA one, but the top here is done in um, the same, but with the gold ABS as the font, since there's no other metallics or anything like that to use. But gold is kind of what I was going for. The When I was testing it with PLA, I found that I really liked the Jupiter, I think it is, as the text. The only difference there was it was a little bit uh sorry, I'm
Kind of
backwards here.
washed
So
out. Yeah, I think I
um
was seeing that in our chat. Yep.
yeah, so this one it's definitely a little bit more vibrant. It pops a little bit more. So I actually like that more. So I think it came out great. But yeah, so this right here is the official case that you'll be getting if you order a complete TD1 unit. So
And then, as I understand right, too, is once I know it's 500 total that was printed in that color. Once those do sell out, of course, you'll still continue selling them, but they will not be. This is the only the first 500 are the only ones in that Starlight Neptune ABS, correct?
that's correct. Yeah.
So for those that are thinking about getting it and you want kind of a cool little piece of history there, that's grab one of those first editions. I know I've built one. I'm still going to buy one. I'm a sucker for limited edition stuff, so I'll be grabbing one myself. So we'll see how quickly I can get it in there before everybody else and before they sell out. Um, Other than that, anything else that anything specific about the TD1? I know, of course, there's you're going to provide guides, correct?
Yeah,
Just like
yeah. So
tutorials and everything.
in Yeah, yeah. So inside of every unit sold, whether it's a kit or a complete unit, there will be a business card that on the back of it has a QR code that if you scan will take you to my website where it will have the user guide for the HueForge integration, which is actually I believe already complete. Probably some little tweaks and stuff before its official release, but I've been able to play with it a little bit. It's pretty awesome. So that's all done. But yeah, so there'll be a user guide on how to use that, how to use the features of it, how to change settings, um, all the different things that it's capable of doing with HueForge and standalone. And there will be, if it's a kit, there'll be a link to the build guide for it, how to assemble it, the correct order. Um, any troubleshooting, there'll be links there to how to get a hold of me for support. Yeah, pretty much anything you should need should be right in that one page on the Discord, or on my website. So, and
Yeah.
that QR code will take you there.
And for those that don't know too, so of course the units are going to come fully just ready to plug and play, but the kits are going to be assemble and of course printed to pieces. Now assembly, I know I talked to you I think last night actually. The originals there were some small wires. It didn't take a pro, but yeah, it had to be a little bit precise with that soldering. The new kits are no wires, right? Yeah, there you go. So that's what the original was. Still works. Mine works great, but the new ones will be if you buy the kit only. Those you do have to solder. Is it a total of 10 pins? There's no wires, but there's pins that will go through the holes, and you'll be able to just solder. I want to say 10.
So there's a little bit more than 10. So there's a few headers you have to solder on. So you'll get these components here, and you have to solder these headers onto these components. And then once these are on and in place, there's a board that you have to solder two other headers to. This is the
Okay.
button board. This you then you solder it into place like this. You put it together. You solder those headers, and that's it for this board. And then the LED board, there's the display header, and so that depending on the display, they may come already attached. There's some that come attached. There's some that come non-attached. You have to solder it on, but then you'll put that one through, solder it on, and then a header on this board, and then it all just kind of sandwiches together around this sensor mount here. So the LEDs line up with these holes in the bottom here,
Yeah.
and then yeah, so it all just kind of sandwiches together. There is on the Raspberry Pi that it runs everything. There'll be a header on there as well, and that's really it. So it's all just through hole header solder joints. So it's
Yeah.
a few of them, but it shouldn't take too long. It's pretty
Right. And a
straightforward.
lot easier than stripping the tiny little wires and the ends and then trying to solder those. So
Yeah, and
I'm
not
not
only
a
that,
professional solderer, but I was able to do it successfully the first time,
there
surprisingly.
is there is a lot of like solder, like wire joints where you have to bring a bunch of things together. And
Yeah.
these were kind of the biggest pain in the butt, in my opinion, of the wired option, is just getting all those wires to connect together in one, and then also like not leaving too much wiring that you can't fit it all in the box, but also not so short that you can't get this piece down in place in the bottom where it's supposed to go. So it's definitely the easy button when it comes to assembly. So
Yeah, that's the whole curse of early adoption, right? Is it's
yeah.
usually the harder course, the working the bugs out and not having it as smooth transition. Yeah, so again, definitely want to thank you for doing this on such a short notice. To be part of the very first Meet the Polymaker, probably the least polished version. As I feel I'm getting a little less nervous as we go along, so it's nice to have somebody to talk to. Um, but again, I appreciate it. Real quick, if you would like to plug any of your websites, socials, where can people find you? Where can they find the latest news for TD1 or whatever project that you're up to?
Yeah, sure. So if you are interested in building one yourself and the wiring doesn't sound like a bad idea to you, and you'd rather have it now versus in a little while when we launch, you're more than welcome to join the Patreon, where by joining the monthly paid, you for $5 you get a license and a list of all the parts and everything you need. So that's on my Patreon, patreon.com/Ajax_3D. Um, Welcome to join and build one. Otherwise, like I said, the Polymaker Discord, the HueForge Discord, my website, Ajax-3D.com, is where pretty much everything will be listed for announcements. So
Awesome. And for those that are in the Discord, he's often in our hangouts. Not trying to flood him with the people, but if he's in there, you see any of us in those Discords, you are welcome to join. If you're shy, don't be. come join, come talk to us. I've again picked Ajax's brain several times for TD1 stuff and other things. So eventually, he's busy now, but eventually he'll be doing those open stages for Hugh Forge. That does transition to TD1. I'm sure he'll probably link that up kind of in his presentations. So we do an open Q&A after those application stages. So like I said, if you guys join that Discord, there's always a lot going on there. It's definitely a friendly community environment. Everybody helps everybody, and you meet cool people like Ajax 3D. So again, I want to thank you for coming to the very first episode of Meet the Polymaker. And you have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Thanks. Have a good one.
Thanks, Ajax.
We'll see you.
So everybody, that's Meet the Polymaker. Again, not the most polished. Very nervous in the first half, just trying to get everything down and right. So appreciate the glares of me going off and looking at different screens and trying to follow messages. We're gonna get better. It's something we want to have fun with. It's not going to be a strict like, hey, this is this. If ever anybody knows me from the Hangouts, you know I'm a fun, easygoing guy. James, that's behind the scenes, same type of guy. All of us are just friendly, fun. I like to think I'm fun. Chat will probably say otherwise, but that's okay. We can ban them. But I want to thank you guys for coming. We do have a couple things to cover, so don't leave yet. I'm going to check real quick. James in my ear. Are you available? Before I announce it, were we successful in the giveaway, or is that not a thing? So, everybody, right now, we're hoping everything goes off without hitch, but type in "I am awesome" in chat. That's going to get you an entry at the end of the show for a chance at a free spool of filament from Polymaker. Obviously, everybody loves Polymaker. If you're here, you're probably already an avid user of Polymaker, and if you're not, that's okay too. Get your first free one. If you don't have a 3D printer, that's fine. Build up that inventory, because trust me, when you get that 3D printer, you're going to want as much filament as you can. So take the free stuff while you can. But again, type "I am awesome" with spaces in chat, and at the end we are going to do a giveaway. So other than that, obviously, today we talked about a few things. News headlines, the Arco printer, obviously the TD1. Scarf joint seams is another thing I'm really interested in. That is going to be, if you search it, there's a GitHub. I did not have time to get it. And Noisy Fox is one of the ones that helped push the feature to Orca Slicer. They're working to push it to Prusa Slicer also, and I'm sure it'll hit multiple others. There is a standalone like mod that you can get right now for Orca Slicer if you want to mess with it. But again, there's that. There's a Kickstarter for Arco, and then it goes to the TD1. Keep your eyes peeled for that. That's going to be coming out soon. So get that. Like I said, and again, I can't stress enough, that first batch is limited edition, and that is a specifically made Polymaker filament for this, which I don't know if you guys grasp how awesome that is for a company, a huge company like that, to do something and for a small creator. And nothing against Ajax. I mean, just it's something new. He's just he's worked with for I think past several months, maybe a year. I don't know the timeline. But just for that connection, that partnership that they're willing to make is just amazing. Obviously, again, I can't stress enough to make sure to show off your prints. You got something you're proud of, you think that looks awesome, share it and show off. Again, that inspires people more than you realize, and you could possibly be showcased on the show. Get some exposure. If you have projects, we're showcasing those too. So, like with Paleo John, we shared his Maker World. Hopefully, the links were in chat. Again, things are kind of working on as we go along with each episode. But if you have a project that you're super proud about, share that. If you have multiple pieces of that project, share it and show off. We're going to randomly pick things out of there and possibly showcase them on the show. Other than that, let's see here. Obviously, the biggest thing, I got to do the official, Twitch stream, YouTube stream thing of please please follow. If you're not already doing so, these will be a lot more entertaining as we go. I got to get a little more comfort into things and remember where to look, engage the audience a little more instead of engaging the screens. So again, appreciate the patience with that. But make sure to follow those. Polymaker underscore 3D on Twitch, Polymaker on YouTube, Polyscore underscore mistakes are real, as I said earlier. Polymaker underscore 3D at TikTok. We still have our TikTok game going on, which is again in our Discord. You can submit videos, win free filament. It doesn't have to be a high production value video. If it's fun, if it's interesting, catchy, whatever you do with it, you can see through pretty much all the last, I don't know, hundreds of submissions or videos on the TikTok account. Those are all community made. Some people, do it with a camera. Some people do it with a cell phone. Doesn't matter. Be creative, have fun, submit there. The rules are in the Discord on that to what you need to achieve to get certain levels of prizes. So make sure that's still going on. How long that will be going on, we don't know. Take advantage of it now. You can win. I think it's 25 on up to $500 of Polymaker filament. So again, can't go wrong there. Other than that, also, if nobody's seen yet, Polymaker has a new partnership with Introice. Forgive me if that's the wrong pronunciation, but he's running Intros Dimensions. Yes, there we go. I have a little voice in my ear. But anyway, so he is running the Polymaker figurines social accounts. That's on Instagram. That's on Facebook. That's on TikTok. And they are printing, I think it's every 3 days. Is that correct, James? Every 2 to 3 days, he is printing a new Pokemon out of the original 151. And he's going on order. He's got a poster. He does each evolution, and they're all in multicolor. As he prints them and posts them for sharing on socials, they also become available on the Maker World page. So you can download and print it yourself. Those are pre-painted, or of course you can mess with it yourself if you want to change it up. So that is a very awesome project that has been getting a ton of traction. Whether you like Pokemon or not, I've never been a big Pokemon guy, but it is awesome seeing those things, and I can't wait to see when he gets 151 all lined up on a shelf. So it is a very cool project to follow. So make sure go check out those if it's something you want to see. Like I said, he's posting every 2 to 3 days, so it's a very very active account. Make sure to follow those accounts if you want to see those new creations every few days. Other than that, we also have Pezliz is one of our other creators partners that is doing a show sponsored by Polymaker. Of course, she streams often, different days. I don't have her exact schedule. She's fun to watch. She's the sweetest lady you can meet. I've met her at the Rep Rap festivals. Even the first time meeting her, it was an instant friendship. Probably because I had Uncrustables and she likes those, so I kind of bought that friendship in the beginning. But I like to imagine it's grown into something more. But she is streaming in printing colors for those around my age. In Living Color was an amazing skit show back in the day. It's based off of that theme. But she's going to be talking about different colors, different filaments, gradients. Each show has a theme. She is going to, or she has already been doing it. Typically every Wednesday. She alternates from 3:30 p.m. On 1 week for the European audience, and the following week is James. Want to help me out here? 8 p.m. I'm not watching chat if you guys don't notice that because I'd be reading all over the place. But just you go to Pezliz's Twitch channel. If you're not following, just follow her. That way, then you're gonna get notifications anyway. And she has other shows. She has Z and Z show with Zombie Hedgehog. She has plenty of other ones, whether it's chocolate 3D printing, it's color sharing, it's butterflies this, hex that, vases this, roses this. She does it all. And she's okay. So the next episode is going to be based on green colors. So different shades of green, what it can be used in, ideas for it. But yeah, she's fun to watch. She recently had a birthday, so late happy birthday to Pezliz in chat. Got some really cool new light ups. She's becoming a really pro streamer. So hopefully I get up to that level soon, sooner than later. So this is more entertaining. But again, that's one of the many projects that Polymaker has going on. Stay tuned for those. We'll kind of announce things on this show as we can. A lot of cool stuff. So appreciate that. Other than that, obviously too, there's the Hangouts in our Discord. These Hangouts, whether we're talking about 3D prints, slicers, sometimes random topics, always a friendly environment. If you are not part of the Discord, or if you are part of Discord and not part of those Hangouts, I welcome you to that. I'm there probably more often than I need to be, but it's inviting. It's fun. The people there are hilarious. We all just get along. We can talk about anything. We have new members come in, ask questions, we help them out. It is just a very friendly environment. Those hangouts are going to be Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then on the weekends, we do it early, and I think it's 3 p.m. We changed the time before, and I think it's 3 p.m. There we go. Yeah, so 3 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday and Sunday. Now, with that said, you can join that hangout anytime. There's people there throughout the day. We have had a 24-hour live going hangout before. So if you see somebody in there, join in. You can chat. If you don't know them, trust me, everybody that's come in there has been welcoming, whether it be a young kid, older gentleman, or older lady, anything. Just everybody gets along. So those are great. Again, if you want to talk 3D printing, need help with something, just have a quick question about anything. It doesn't have to be Polymaker filament. It can be anything 3D printed related or maker related. Our ambassadors are in there a lot to answer questions if they need to too. So again, welcome you to that hangout anytime. But yeah, it gets busy around the 9 p.m. time Eastern Standard on the weekdays and 3 o'clock on the weekends, and also usually again about 9 o'clock on the weekends. So make sure to visit those. Um, other than that, with that all said, we're gonna go ahead and try to run this giveaway. So last chance before I tell them to draw. It's still open. I am awesome in chat. That'll give you an entry. You can't double entry. Don't bother trying to cheat the system. You're gonna get a chance for one spool of filament. So get that in now. I'm gonna kind of read chat for now, so I'm gonna look off to the side. But I appreciate any support that you guys shown. I take criticism very well. So meet me in the hangout, whether right after the show or a little bit later tonight, if you want to make fun of me, point out how many times I moved my hands, how many times I looked away from camera, how many ums I did. So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff there. And we'll move forward with each show, add things in. I got to thank Disturb Medic. We've had some late nights setting some of this stuff up. We try to do a decent production value. None of us are skilled in video editing or Streamlabs or OBS or anything of that nature. This has all been put together by us with the help, of course, Brainchild. We've got Nick and Sean that are also part of this team that just help with changing things up on what works, what doesn't work, what sounds good. And we do have somebody recently within the Polymaker company that has helped with some graphics. So hopefully those will kind of upgrade and change as we go along. She just was onboarded last week. So we gave her a pretty hefty list of things to do before the show started 1 week later. So she came through. I appreciate her. Not sure name mention or whatnot of what I can do, but if she's watching or if she watches this later, we thank you. You know who you are. So with that said, I think we're gonna go ahead and get this drawing done and see if it works. So James, hit that magic button and we'll see what happens. And here we go. Who's it gonna be? Who's gonna be? Oh, I thought it was gonna be Polymaker 3D. Nick 3DP. There you go. Congratulations. Are you in here, Nick? I guess I need to look over here at chat. We'll see. Just say something in chat so we know you're here. You know that you won. Awesome. Congratulations. So you will get a voucher. The details, this was kind of last minute because we weren't sure if we were going to be able to do the giveaway. Yes. Okay, is that support at Poly? Or well, that's a little bit difficult. I'm talking to the voice in my head, guys. So Nick, reach out. Are you part of the Discord? Polymaker 3D. It seems like you're biased towards Nick's. There you go. Okay, awesome. He posted in there. So reach out to Sean on Discord or email him at seanaranda@polymaker.com. He will get that voucher for you. So without ado, again, everybody, we appreciate you coming in. And hopefully you got some laughs. Let us know if you guys like the commercial. Speaking of, before I do forget, that is the other thing. There's probably 10 things I forgot, but those commercials, again, those were created with a 1 week time frame. All of us did it within probably a day, within 45 minutes to a day of prep time to actually submit it to each other for review. We had fun with it. There's some more commercials that might make the light of day eventually. But we welcome the community. We are going to start, I'll see if we get it today. We're going to start a commercial channel in the Discord. That's going to allow you, the community members, to create a commercial. Of course, it needs to be family friendly. It doesn't need high production. We're not looking for an official commercial to advertise something specific. It is to your creative decision if you want to advertise Starlight PLA, or if you want to, like Disturb Medic did. He did Cos PLA. You can do whatever. 3D printed related, something that goes the flow with the show. Post it in there. There's 30 to 45 seconds. There's not really any rules yet. We might post some things we want to see as we go along. But feel free to submit a commercial, whether it be you or graphics and hand drawn graphics. We don't care. The cheesier, the more fun, the better. Have fun with it. What we're going to eventually do, and again, these details will come out, is if we're going to randomly choose commercials in there. I can't promise, depending on how many are submitted, that we're going to use all of them, but they'll be just chosen randomly. And if it gets aired during the show, you'll win a free spool of film. So just kind of an incentive to have fun with it. I'm definitely looking forward to see what other people come up with. Like I said, we each came up with 2, so there's 6 commercials that are living in the hard drives of our computers, and we'll see which ones make it, which might rear some. So hopefully you guys have a favorite. If so, let us know in chat what your favorite commercial was this time around, and we'll hopefully build on that ourselves. We'll probably create when we have some time. Community members, you're welcome to submit once. Just watch for that channel. If it's not created right away, we'll get it created here the next day. But with again that, I'd like to thank Ajax again for coming in and being a very last second plan B to get a guest in here. More preparation will be had by myself on that. But yeah, so with that, we're going to go ahead and what we're going to do is rate out to another community member. You guys probably have heard of Stephen Poole. So we're going to rate out to him. So other than that, again, I can't thank you guys enough for the support you've given us just through Discord and then chatting with people, and the positive vibes everybody's giving me of me being nervous coming into this thing. So it'll get better. I promise. It'll be fun. So you guys have fun. Make sure to tell Stephen Poole we said hi from Meet the Polymaker. That is the show. I don't have a co-outro yet. I'll probably use AI to generate that. We'll have some fun little catchphrase. But you guys have a wonderful night. And again, thank you for watching Meet the Polymaker. I'm your host, Nighcore. Have a good night.